guys, it's KINO. Welcome to another video. So today's pick a card reading is going to be a cozy sit down with spirit, and we're gonna get some messages of encouragement and reassurance for you. There's not really gonna be a specific structure to today's reading, so it's just whatever messages come through, whatever you need to know at this point on your journey. There are 3 groups for you to choose from today, and I have a different crystal for each group to help you pick. I'm going to show you each of these up close one by one. And if you do feel drawn to more than one today, that is totally fine. Please feel free to watch any and all that you feel called to today. And without further ado, let's get a close-up look at each of your options. Number 1 is Selenite. Number 2 is Calcite. And number 3 is Rainbow Quartz. Okay, so as always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number 1. Hi number ones. So if you guys chose the Selenite, this is going to be your reading. I wanted to just start off by rolling some dice to see if there's anything in particular that Spirit would like to talk to you about today. So I have 4 dice. Okay, we have the sign of Leo. We have the South Node. We have the sign of Aries, and we have the number 4, which represents the 4th house. Okay, there's kind of a specific message coming through here where I feel like those of you who chose this group may be feeling worried right now because there's this aspirational version of you, like a future version of you that you are trying to reach, but you may be feeling like you are slipping back to old ways of being, like reverting to an older version or slipping back to old habits. There may be moments where you can kind of feel yourself doing that, or you feel like that's what is happening, and that makes you uneasy. And I think that Spirit wants to reassure you about that you very much are on the right path towards becoming that ideal version of you that you envision. And at the same time, it is okay to slip up sometimes. It's okay to fall back to old habits sometimes, or to an old way of being or an old way of thinking. It doesn't mean that you're gonna get stuck there. Everybody has these ups and downs and bumps in the road as they grow. And so it's nothing to be worried about or to judge yourself about. So that's one thing Spirit wants to reassure you about. And then the other thing is that I guess this is a message of encouragement and also reassurance that you're going to find an environment where you feel very safe, like a physical environment. So this could be somewhere you're going to live, or who you're going to live with, or a community that you're going to belong to, that makes you feel very safe and is also very conducive to the version of you that you are becoming, like that ideal version of you that you envision. So if you have felt yourself kind of slipping up or falling back to old ways, it may actually be to do with your environment, and it may be something that you tend to do when you feel unsafe. Like if consciously or subconsciously you feel unsafe, you might kind of revert back to old habits or old coping mechanisms or something like that. And Spirit is saying that's okay, and please don't judge yourself for that. And also wants to let you know that it's not you, it might be the environment that you're in. And Spirit's gonna help you get into a new environment where you feel more safe, where you feel like you can be yourself, and where you feel like you can move forward into the version of yourself that you want to become. I see a favorable living situation for you and spending time in physical environments that promote your peace and promote your focus rather than making you feel like on edge. We do have Leo and Aries energy here, so you could have these placements, or someone who has these placements could be significant. And if you are familiar with your birth chart, someone who has placements in your 4th house could be significant. So using myself as an example, actually my 4th house is Leo, so for me it would also be Leo. But yeah, someone with placements in your 4th house could be significant. So we're gonna look at some oracle cards now to see what else Spirit wants to talk to you about. We have mic time. We have the 9 of Cups. We have rest. And perhaps. So what's kind of cool is that when this card came out with the number 17, I was like, oh, that's the number of the star. And then the next 2 cards that appeared, first there's, oh, wow, okay. First there's 2 stars, and then there's like stars all over the place. So that's an important symbol for you guys. I wonder if like the star card has a significance for you. If you watch other readings or do readings for yourself, look out for the star card, because that will be your higher self, I think. Yeah, that will be your higher self trying to get your attention. And Spirit, I think, literally wants to let you know that you are a star and that you are amazing and that you shine so bright. And with mic time, this is a pretty clear message. Spirit is encouraging you to speak up. It's time to speak up. For some of you, you might have aspirations or a career path that literally involves you like speaking to a large group of people, or perhaps singing to a large group of people, or performing in some way. But I think in general, this is a message that is encouraging you to speak up. And when it comes to, I'm having a hard time forming this sentence. When it comes to what Spirit would like you to speak up about, it has to do with a wish of yours. So I think that Spirit is encouraging you to be more vocal about what you want and what your goals are, rather than just waiting for them to come to you, rather than just saying like, oh, if I'm good enough, it will just happen naturally. You may have to speak up more about what you are trying to do and what you, I keep using the word envision, but what you envision for yourself and your future. And I'm looking at these 2 stars coming together, and Spirit is showing me that the more you speak up, or the more you share about what you're doing or what you're trying to do, you will find important partners to collaborate with, which will lead to you growing an audience or growing a large community. So I feel like these 2 stars are representing you and someone else coming together in collaboration, which then leads to all of these stars, which is your larger audience, your larger community, the people who are listening to you. I'm also hearing you are not meant to do this alone. These goals and aspirations that you have, you are not meant to do this alone. And it's kind of an illusion that anyone can do it alone. We need to collaborate. We need to lean on each other for support. We need to be inspired by each other. So definitely you're being encouraged to speak up about a wish that you have. Also, another thing that I see with the 9 of Cups is stressful situations being eased, like stress going away. So another thing Spirit might be saying is speaking up could remove a lot of stress from your life. So when something is frustrating you or annoying you or making you anxious, rather than just keeping that to yourself, which maybe you do to like keep the peace for others or to avoid confrontation, to avoid an awkward situation, it's better to speak up about what is bothering you. And you may be surprised how easily the situation can be fixed. I do this a lot. I tend to stew in my head about the things that are bothering me. And then the second I tell someone about it, it's like, oh, okay, we don't have to do that. Or like, we can do this way. Some of the things that I think you stress about might be an easier fix than you realize. And it's just that fear, that initial fear of confrontation or that initial fear of making things awkward that causes you to keep it to yourself. And I think Spirit would like you to trust that your needs can be met, that people people who care about you want to know about your needs and want to meet your needs, and that you have power to facilitate that process by using your voice. So yes, you're definitely encouraged to be vocal at this time. And yeah, for any of you who are like singers or rappers or speakers, I think Spirit is definitely encouraging you down that path as well. We have this Nine of Cups, so there's definitely a reassurance here that your wishes are going to come true. And if there is a particular wish that is very close to your heart, I think Spirit wants to reassure to you that that wish is going to be fulfilled. Some of you maybe have this feeling of, oh, it's such a big wish, it's so much to ask from the universe. And yes, it is big in the sense that it's important and it will bring you great joy. But Spirit really wants to reassure you that it is not a hassle for the universe or for others involved to bring about the fruition of this wish. It actually makes Spirit very happy to grant you what you desire, and it's easy for Spirit. You know, what we might feel like is heavy lifting from our human perspective is really not for Spirit. And so I also feel like these hands are Spirit protecting you. There's a feeling of don't give up on your happiness. And I feel like this is someone helping you. I mean, obviously it looks pretty intimate with the kissing, but I feel like it's more of a symbolic, like we are coming together, we are joining forces, we are working together. And this could be one specific person who is helping you, or it could just be Spirit encouraging you to more readily accept help, or be on the lookout for possible partners, possible collaborators. We have rest as well. So I think another message of encouragement is rest, and you may be able to rest more than you think. I think this is probably a message for those of you who are afraid of slowing down, afraid of resting, because you feel like you will lose progress, or lose relevancy, or it's like bad to rest. It means you're not productive. It means you're not disciplined enough. There's a lot of negative connotations around rest in our society, so it makes a lot of sense. But with the Nine of Cups being such a peaceful and stress-free energy, and then having this rest card, of course there's going to be hard moments and stressful moments when you're manifesting your desires, but I think Spirit wants you to know that it can be easier than you think. It can be less work than you think, or less draining work than you think. And you can very much, for what you want to do, for what you're trying to do, you can very much afford to rest more, and definitely don't have to be guilty about it. I'm also thinking of all of these stars, how they represent your audience, your community, your supporters. And it's like in the blink of an eye, it's like you blink and suddenly they're all here. Or you laid down to take a little nap and then you woke up and suddenly they were all here. So there could be a message about you suddenly gaining a lot of support. For those of you who are growing a platform, you could be suddenly gaining a lot of followers, or suddenly gaining a lot of eyes on your work. This could even be, for example, applying for a job, and suddenly you're getting so many responses, and you're getting so many invitations to an interview, or you're getting so many orders in your business. It kind of feels like people flooding in, and it looks sudden, but it's actually the culmination of a lot of hard work that you've been doing for quite some time. But yeah, with rest, there's a feeling of like, I took a little break, I went on vacation because I wasn't expecting anything to happen, and then when I came back, I was flooded with comments, I was flooded with invitations, I was flooded with messages, which I do think is a very positive thing, and it kind of proves to you that you don't have to be hustling 24/7 for these things to happen. An easy example of this would be like, it's often said that if you want to grow on social media, you have to be posting all the time. And there's a lot of people who post every single day, which is, wow, like, respect. But in this example, it would be someone, taking a couple weeks off of social media and just relaxing. And they come back a couple weeks later and something has blown up. And it's like, oh, so I didn't have to be constantly constantly working at it to make it happen. I'm allowed to step away from it, and things can happen when I'm in an off season. Things can happen when I have stepped away or when I'm taking a rest, and Spirit wants to reassure you of that. Then we have this perhaps card, which I feel like needs to go here. You see how the font is like squiggly? It reminds me of a voice that is weak, a voice that is shaking, a voice that is not sure. Like, maybe. And Spirit is like, no, my child, take the mic, raise your voice, and say yes or no. So this kind of gives me the feeling of deep down, you know the answer, but you may not be confident enough to say it. So you're like, I don't know, maybe. Oh, if you think it's a good idea, well, what do you think? And it just feels like a voice shaking and someone who is not certain. And there may also be, I'm thinking of that, I don't know if you would call this a quote, but I feel like I've seen this around. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Spirit is hoping and helping you to reach a place where you can say yes like you really mean it, and you can say no like you really mean it. And that really comes down to trusting your judgment, because like I said, I feel like deep down you know the answer, but then you second guess. So, you know, deep down I know that I don't want to do this, but then my mind is like, but maybe I should. And then you're like, okay, with like shaky voice. And I wonder if even the strength of your voice could reveal how you truly feel about something. Almost like paying attention to the tone of your voice and the pitch of your voice when you're speaking. Like, for example, me, and I think a lot of people do this, if we're like nervous, our voice will go up. So when I'm talking on the phone, I'm like, hi, you know? And then when I'm here, I'm just like, hey guys, it's KINO. So, like paying attention to the tone of your voice and where it's resonating. Like, is it in your belly or is it just like at the top of your throat? And it could give you a sense of how certain you feel about it or how confident you feel about it. And I think Spirit is wanting you to reach a place where you can say yes or no, accept or reject things with like certainty and with confidence, which it's beautiful because we see that you are entering into an environment where you're able to do that, which I love to see. So let's get into our tarot now. What else would Spirit like you to know? Messages of encouragement for my group number ones. We have the Three of Wands. And the Knight of Cups. Okay, and then messages of reassurance. We have the Sun. And the Seven of Pentacles. You know what's kind of cool is we have Aries and Leo energy again, because this is Aries and this is Leo, and that's the same as what we have here. So, I mean, it could be zodiac placements. I was gonna say it could be a window of time, which is honestly pretty big. But Aries to Leo season, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, that's basically the seasons of spring and summer. Like end of March to end of August, spring and summer. So, and I actually don't even know when I'm gonna put up this video, but this coming spring and summer season from whenever you're watching could be significant. And I actually feel called to say, even if you are in the Southern Hemisphere, the coming spring and summer seasons could be significant. In terms of messages of encouragement with the Three of Wands, this is definitely Spirit encouraging you to go bigger, letting you know that you can go bigger, that you can dream bigger. There could be something about scaling a project, because there was that message of not having to work more or not having to do more strenuous work. And I do sometimes get a feeling of passive income with the Three of Wands, just because it's expansive. And so Spirit might be reassuring you that it is possible to live a more abundant life without having to hustle more or do work that drains you more. And that doesn't mean you're not going to be working hard, but I think Spirit wants to clarify, some of you may be thinking, if I want to have a more abundant lifestyle, I have to really kick it up a notch. I have to work more hours, or I have to do work that sucks more than what I'm doing now. And Spirit is saying, no, you may be doing a different kind of work. You may be doing more efficient work, but it doesn't have to be longer and it doesn't have to be more stressful. And so you can find a way to scale a business or gain more passive income or increase your income. You can do these things. I also feel like Spirit is encouraging you to travel. And it doesn't have to be a crazy far trip, although it could be if you want to do that. But if you've been thinking of going somewhere, if there's a specific destination you've been wanting to go to, I feel like this is your sign to go. Spirit is confirming that. And if you're not sure how you're going to make that happen yet, Spirit is encouraging you to just keep working hard and Spirit will show you the way. But yeah, there's definitely growth in this next chapter. I also think Spirit is encouraging you not to rush yourself. Knight of Cups in general feels like moving at a natural and leisurely pace, but especially the Knight, which focuses on movement. It just feels like someone who's going with their vibes, going with their feeling, going at the speed that feels natural to them. You may often have this feeling of I should be going faster. You may have this feeling of I'm falling behind, which I think is unfortunately normal in this life, in this culture. But Spirit is encouraging you, and it's easier said than done, but to not let that voice win that tries to pressure you into going faster, because that voice doesn't know what it's talking about. It's rushing is not actually based on anything. It's there's a part of you that maybe has kind of arbitrary deadlines. This needs to get done today. Why? Because it needs to. I need to finish this work. I need to do this by this year or month or by this age. But it's not really based in anything, and rushing in that way could actually prevent you from doing work that is genuinely creative and experimental and original and innovative, because to do that you need to really slow down and explore and play around and make mistakes. And when you're just rushing to get from point A to B, you can't do that. And I just think Spirit is saying the quality of your work could suffer, not because of a lack of talent or a lack of skill, but because time constraints don't allow your creative soul to really stretch out, to wake up and stretch its legs and to dance around. It needs ample time and space to play around. So trust that you're able to grow, but that it doesn't have to be rushed, and actually that it should not be rushed. And it's so ironic because I feel like that part of us that tells us to rush, it comes across as so confident and trust me, this is what we have to do. But it's very much the opposite. Not only do you not have to rush, but you should not. Especially we're trying to find some new creative ideas. We're trying to get in touch with our creative voice, and trust that the quality of your work will speak for itself. And don't fall for these I need to be putting out 10 things a month, or I need to be putting out. No, you don't. You need to put out something when you feel called to put something out. It's that kind of message. So yes, Spirit is encouraging you to dream bigger, but not bigger in the sense of more quantity, but bigger in the sense of I can achieve greater happiness, I can achieve greater abundance without like exploiting my creativity or exploiting my energy to do more and to put out more. I also wonder if Spirit is encouraging some of you to tell someone how they feel, because we did have these kissing stars at the start of the reading, and we have the Knight of Cups, which can talk about moving towards someone in a loving way, like confessing your feelings, offering love, offering romance to someone. And the Three of Wands, which I often see as like coming out of your comfort zone, making the first move. So if you have, and the Sun, which I just saw yesterday in a reading I was filming yesterday, it was talking about like having a crush on someone. So could be a romantic crush, could be a platonic crush, but yeah, and you've been waiting for the perfect moment, and Spirit may be encouraging you to just go for it and tell this person how you feel. For those of you who have a someone, it could also be that with mic time, you may need to have a conversation with your partner or with your love interest. Even, if something is, like we talked about, something could be stressing you out, or you may not be so sure about something, and that deserves to be made known to your loved one. So keep growing, keep moving forward, slowly and steadily. Prioritize quality over quantity. We are not rushing. And even with the Seven of Pentacles, it's the feeling of this is not meant to be a sprint. It is meant to be a marathon. And you are meant to take your time. That's why the time is there. And Seven of Pentacles feels like it's all going to be worth it in the end. So I think that's a message of reassurance. I think this is also a message of reassurance that good things take time. And yeah, because so often the Seven of Pentacles has a plant on it. Plants need time to grow and they need sunlight, but the sun cannot be there 24/7. So the sun comes up, it nourishes the plants, and then it goes away. And then it comes back and it nourishes the plants and it goes away. Even the sun is not on 24/7. Well, it is on the other side of the world, but we're talking about where you are. And so it's almost like energetically, you're trying to do something like, let's find out how to make the sun stay here 24 hours a day so that my plants can grow faster. Well, no, you cannot do that, because then we wouldn't have nighttime, and nighttime is very important too. So it's this feeling of you don't have to be constantly on. And it's tempting, right? Because you're like, if I can figure out a way to be constantly on and constantly working, then I can make my results happen faster. Which is not the case. You need the nighttime, you need the rest. Probably the plants even need it too, because if they're in sunlight all the time, they're going to start withering or turning yellow or something. As a plant parent who has given plants too much direct sunlight, take it from me. So that's another message of reassurance. Also with the sun, this is like, it's okay to rest, but also it's okay to have fun more. I think some of you maybe need to be reminded in the pursuit of your goals that this is supposed to be fun. And if it starts to not become fun, you need to kind of stop and reevaluate what went wrong. Spirit is saying, I promise you, your enjoyment is the most important thing. And it will come across when you are making something out of true joy and true inspiration. The people who are receiving it will feel that energy. Like, you have to remember that whatever you create, whatever you make is imbued with your energy. And to imbue it with intention and with love it's a really, really powerful thing. I also think Spirit wants to reassure you about how talented you are. I do think, just based on the messages that are coming through, I do think that many of you who chose this group are creatives and maybe have a hard time believing in your talent, or there's a message coming through, you know, people will say like they're having a creative block, they don't have any inspiration, and Spirit is kind of challenging that and saying that you do have inspiration and you do have ideas, but you don't give them a chance because you just decide that they're no good before even trying it. Like if you are paying attention, you probably have many ideas coming to you every day, but you're just like, like that wouldn't be good, or something in you kind of shuts them down before you try it. Maybe it's a part of you that says it's going to be a waste of time. You know, if I don't have the fully formed idea and I can get it out quickly, then I'm not going to do it because it's just going to take too much time and then I'm going to get stressed out. Like, I really feel like speed is the enemy, or like time constraints are the enemy, because Spirit really wants to encourage you to give yourself time to play around with ideas. Sometimes you don't know if it's going to be good until you until you mess around with it, and you need time to do that. You know, there's a feeling of like, if it's not good the first time I get it out, then I just have to move on to the next thing because we don't have time. And it's just very sad. Like, I don't know, I think Spirit is encouraging you to slow down and really stretch out into your creative energy, which I'm hearing is an act of rebellion in a world that benefits from you exploiting yourself. It's an act of rebellion. Okay, so finally, we are going to take a look at these oracle cards. First, we have a familiar spirit oracle, which I actually want to read from the guidebook. So we have the parrot with communication, which is reminding me of the mic time card. So let's see what our parrot friend has to say. Okay, and it's on page 42. The parrot grants you the power of your voice, through which you can heal, enlighten, excite, manifest, and awaken. Your words will carry more strength, be heard more lovingly, or cut more deeply. The parrot teaches you how to eliminate off-key notes from your life and brings you back to the sound of joy. The tool of communication is perhaps the most potent in relationships. The parrot invites you to speak clearly and reminds you that the throat chakra, where words arise, is preceded by the heart chakra. What you say should always be in alignment with what you feel. And the keywords are socialization, mimicry, speech, fun, fondness, vibrancy, clarity. That is very, very fitting for this reading. We also have exchanging gifts. So that feels like you and someone else, or just other people in general, coming together and sharing your gifts. And actually, it's funny that I hadn't really put two and two together yet in this reading, because we've been talking about you can get more done without necessarily having to do more work. And that would likely happen if you are exchanging gifts with people. So, you know, you're bringing your talent and strengths and they're bringing theirs, and you're making something happen together. I've recently started collaborating more in music, and yeah, I've made more songs this year than I ever have, and it's really fun and it's a learning experience, and you can dabble in different styles, and it's, yes, recommend. Then we have the Lemurian mermaid, and it says, you are beautiful, express it. And then we have anchoring the light. The light is always within me. Oh, I love how these two go together, because it's like the light within you is what is so beautiful. I also love that this is a number 3 card, like 3-0 reducing to 3, because that's the Empress, and she's like the epitome of beauty. There's a light within you that is very beautiful, and it wants to be expressed, and it's always there. Like Spirit was saying, your talent is always there, your genius is always there, your potential to tap into inspiration is always there. It's always within you. It's just waiting to be expressed. And sometimes it might feel like it's not there because the subconscious mechanism that shuts it down is like so quick. I feel it's so quick and automatic that you might not realize it happening, that you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh, I didn't have any good ideas today. And it's like, actually you had like 18 good ideas that came up, but just as soon as they came up, something was shutting it down, whether it's like, that's not feasible, we don't have enough time for that, that's not a good idea, that's not going to come out well, I don't have the resources to do that. And it feels kind of automatic. It could happen faster than you're able to notice, that you actually get to the end of the day and you're like, I couldn't think of anything, I didn't come up with anything, which I think slowing down is also kind of a remedy for that. And being like, no, maybe we can explore this. Maybe we can just give it a little bit of time to show what it's going to become. There's this visual, I have this visual in my mind's eye of someone finding a seed on the ground and being like, oh, this thing is useless, and like throwing it away. And then the seed grows into a big, majestic tree. So sometimes what's coming to you is the seed of your idea. And it's just a stepping stone to get to your masterpiece. And maybe the seed doesn't look super special, but it deserves to be played around with. It deserves to be given some time. It came to you for a reason. So yeah, definitely like huge encouragements to express yourself creatively. That much is for sure. And to speak up about how you feel. Like even the parrot said, what you say should match how you feel. So my lovely group number 1s, these are all the messages I have for you. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. And thank you so much to Spirit for facilitating these messages. This was a very cozy reading. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching. And I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm gonna have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where you can watch tons of timeless, exclusive pick a card readings just like this one. And you can also decide on topics for future readings. I will link my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video that is an original song. I will also have my latest release link down below. And finally, my vlog channel and my merch, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really, really appreciate having you here. And I'm sending so much love to you, to your higher self, to anyone who appeared in this reading directly or indirectly, to Spirit, of course, your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number 2s. So if you guys chose the Calcite, this is going to be your reading. I just wanted to start off, before we get into the cards, I wanted to roll some dice to see if there's anything specific that Spirit wants to talk to you about today. So I'm just gonna roll 4 random dice. Okay, we have the number 2, which relates to the 2nd house. We have the sign of Virgo. We have the number 2 again. And we have the moon. Okay, so there could be changes coming to your career or to your financial situation, or you could be focusing on managing your finances or budgeting. You could also be brainstorming or planning or reflecting when it comes to your career path and where you see yourself going. This is kind of the feeling that I'm getting so far. So let's get into your oracle cards and see what messages Spirit has for you today. We have a null. We have the 10 of Cups. Begin. And maybe we should stop here. Okay, this is a pretty specific message, group number 2. Also just noticing that you guys are group number 2 and 2 2s came out. This might be a significant number that you see. And I actually think that Spirit might show you repeating 2s to, I think when we need to get back into balance or when adjustments need to be made, almost just as a way to get your attention, to check in with yourself and make sure that you're happy about the way things are going. This is why Spirit would show you this number. You may be in a very analytical or rational kind of mindset right now, where you are analyzing potential paths and trying to find the best one, or you're trying to find the solution to a problem, but maybe being a bit too rational about it to the point that your feelings do not get a say. Kind of prioritizing what makes the most sense, like what is the most logical decision versus what will actually make you feel good. I was just reading a book recently called The Psychology of Money, which is a really good book. I really, really recommend it because it's not just about money. It's about the way our mind works and the way we make decisions. And something that I really loved in that book was when the author was talking about the difference between being rational and being reasonable, because being rational to the point where you discount how your decision is going to make you feel and your emotions in general, that is actually not a reasonable thing to do. Dismissing your emotions is not reasonable, because whatever decision you make, you then have to live in that decision and you have to be comfortable in it. So I wonder if Spirit is bringing to your attention that you may be in a very analyzing and trying to find out what makes the most sense, when actually Spirit wants to encourage you to take matters of the heart into consideration, especially with the 10 of Cups here. Cups having to do with your heart, having to do, especially this card, with your emotional fulfillment and your inner peace and your happiness. This has to be taken into consideration as well. And I wonder if some of you were thinking my emotions are going to cloud my judgment, so I have to put those to the side for now. And Spirit's no, please do consider your feelings, because it's really important that you feel good with the choice that you make. Otherwise, it's not going to be sustainable. I'm wondering if some of you recently have had a change of heart, and Spirit wants to let you know that that's okay. We have this annul card, which you can see the hands are ripping up the paper. It's we're scrapping plans, we're canceling something, we're not going through with something. Spirit might want to let you know that it is okay to change your mind. The same way the moon changes phases, sometimes our moods shift, our desires shift. Maybe you made a decision when you were in a certain mood and then when you got out of that mood, you were wait, I actually don't know if this is the right thing to do. And that is entirely okay. Please change your mind. Please cancel plans. Please don't go through with things if they don't feel good, and don't feel like it's unreasonable to make a decision based on your feelings, because it's actually unreasonable to dismiss them. I want to talk about this begin and this maybe we should stop here, because what's standing out to me is, the here is obviously singled out with it being upside down. I think there is something in your life that you maybe want to stop doing, you want to end, you want to walk away from. And so it's not hard to recognize that you want to do that, but it might be hard to know when. Like, for example, you're in a job and you know that you want to leave that job, but you're like, I don't know when's the best timing to do that. I don't know when I should do that. And yeah, I'm just seeing someone who's trying to speculate about what their future is going to look like and when am I going to have enough money to be able to quit. It feels like you're trying to decide the best timing to walk away from something and start a new chapter, but you may be being too analytical about it. Being like, oh, well, if I can save up this much money by this time, or if I can get my life to a certain place by this day, then maybe I can quit by this day. And I think Spirit's kind of saying it's not going to work that way. And any plan, anything that you could speculate about when is a good time, life very often doesn't go the way we speculate. So I think Spirit wants to kind of give you permission almost to decide this with your moods and to decide this with your feelings, you know, rather than saying, and this is just an example, of course, but rather than saying, I will quit my job when I have X amount of dollars in my bank, the answer is going to come from within. You know, the number 2 is the number of the high priestess. It's all about the inner world. And we had that message about Spirit will show you this number when it's time to check in with yourself and see if you're really happy with the way things are going. Spirit is like, why is it not like, I will quit my job when it's poorly affecting my mental health, or like when it's affecting the quality of my life? I think Spirit is maybe encouraging you to take more of those factors into consideration rather than just dismissing them and being like, no matter how this is affecting me mentally and emotionally, I'll just deal with it until I hit this point that is determined by an external number or an external accomplishment, and then I'll end this chapter. So, and it's a balance, right? But I feel like your emotions, your mental health, your emotional state and the quality of your life, like how you're feeling every day, needs a bit more consideration than just external markers for when you should walk away from something or when you should start a new chapter. Yeah. And of course, this could be about anything, but because we have the second house here, for many of you, it could have to do with finances or your career, or perhaps you're using like finances or material possessions or resources as like a benchmark of when can I end a chapter and move into a new one. So let's get into your tarot now. I think it's like another easy example of this is like someone saying, I'm going to eat every day at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. And it's regimented like that. And it's based on something external, me being what the clock says. And I'm going to use that to determine when I should eat, versus someone being like, I'm going to eat when I'm hungry, and listening inside them for that cue that comes naturally and that actually very accurately tells you when you need something. So yeah, Spirit wants you to go inward more when it comes to figuring out the timing to do something. Which would require trust that that internal cue is accurate, and that maybe it feels safer to rely on the external thing. Maybe it feels more objective or something, but the truth is that external circumstances are very unpredictable as well. And so even if you planned it in a certain way, that doesn't mean it's going to end up like that. What else does Spirit want to talk to my group number 2s about? I think Spirit also wants to confirm to you whatever it is that you are thinking about ending and walking away from. It's basically, I want to say 100%, which sounds very strong, but that's just the way it's coming through. You are guaranteed greater happiness. So whatever you're walking away from, you are walking towards greater happiness, and Spirit is guaranteeing that. What else does Spirit want to say to my group number 2s? We have the 7 of Pentacles. This came out for group number 1 as well. The Page of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles, which came out together. Then we have the Sun, and this also came out for group number 1, and I believe it came out in the same position, which is interesting. And then we have the Page of Cups. I'm just gonna drink my water and let's get into it. Okay. So we have 2 pages here, Page of Wands and the Page of Cups. A fire sign person or a water sign person could be significant to you, or you could have fire or water placements, especially Leo, like Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, especially Leo is coming through, and then water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, especially Cancer because we have the moon here. Although there are fish as well, so that's also Pisces. But anyway, this is really interesting. We had a page and an ace come out together, which both pages and aces talk about new beginnings. And also the fact that we have 2 Pentacles cards. I was thinking for many of you, this message was pertaining to like career and finances, the way you make money or the way you support yourself. And so now that these cards have come out, I'm definitely thinking that's the case for many of you. And it looks like you are wanting a new beginning, a new adventure, a new challenge. The 7 of Pentacles, it feels like something that you have been investing in for a long time. 7 of Pentacles feels very like we've been waiting for a long time. And we see the person who has planted the seeds just staring at their crops and like waiting for something to grow, and they're not sure if it's going to grow. So I think that what I'm seeing for my group number 2s is there is something in your life you have invested in for a very long time, and it hasn't, what's the word? It hasn't borne the results, bared the results, anyway, it hasn't shown the results that you had hoped. But because you have already put so much time, energy, maybe even money into it, it's quite hard to walk away from. And you want to keep hoping that, oh, maybe it's going to have its moment. Maybe it's finally going to blossom. Maybe it's finally going to be successful. And it's just, it feels like it's hard to walk away from something that you have put so much care into. I wonder if some of you kind of gave something an ultimatum where you're like, if things don't work out by this time, then I'm going to walk away. And maybe even some of you, like, let's say you said, if nothing happens by December 31st, by the end of the year, then I'm going to give up. But then like on December 15th, there's a little glimmer of hope. And so you extend that and you extend that. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard to walk away, but I feel like you're craving a new beginning, something deep down in you is wanting to start fresh. Like we have begin, maybe we should stop here. I feel like your higher self has kind of been whispering to you that maybe it's time to start over. Maybe it's time to start from scratch. Maybe it's time to scrap these plans and try something new. Like look at this Seven of Pentacles person. They don't look like they're enjoying themselves anymore. I feel, yeah, I'm hearing like this isn't fun anymore. It's almost like not staying where you are because it's enjoyable, but because there's some part of you that feels like it needs to prove that they can do it. Oh my gosh. That was a very loud car horn. Like I need to prove that I can make it work. I need to prove to myself that all of this time wasn't a waste. I need to prove to myself that I'm not a quitter. Like it doesn't really feel like but I still love it here. I still love what I'm doing. I want to stay here. It feels more for, this is Saturn energy. And so it's kind of disciplinary energy, but it also feels restrictive and like punishing, So that part of you that judges you or disciplines you may have some negative associations with walking away. And that may be, it's like there's this inner, what would you call it? Inner strict person, like an inner judge that you have in you. And they maybe respond better to external cues, and that's why you use them. For example, if you said to your internal judge, I'm gonna give up on this project because nothing's happening and I'm honestly not enjoying myself anymore, and I think that it might be better for me to start on a fresh path. That inner judge will be like, oh, you're like weak-minded, and because you're going off how you feel about it, right? And your inner judge will be like, I don't care how you're feeling. We have to keep going. You can't be a quitter, blah, blah, blah. But if you were to go to your inner judge and say, inner judge, it has been 5 years and I have accumulated X amount of results. So as you can see, according to my calculations, I think that I should stop now. Like inner judge may be more likely to respond to that. But I think spirit wants to reassure you that you not feeling it anymore is a darn good reason. It is a darn good reason because it's your life at the end of the day, and you have to feel good about what you're doing, because that's kind of, it sounds dramatic, but that's kind of all that matters. You have to feel good about what you are doing and not keep yourself doing things that are out of alignment for no reason other than to feel like disciplined or something, or like because your rational mind said so. It's like, for what? Like, what are we really doing here? Which it's very easy for me to say this, but it really looks like your soul is craving a new adventure and wants to do something more creative and wants to be free. I actually feel like you are less free here because you've already built up the project, or built up your work, or built up your brand, or whatever it might be, to such a place that it's kind of hard to pivot at this point. And starting fresh seems like it would be the best thing. The Ace of Pentacles, it's like a new venture, a new project, spirit offering you a new opportunity. Not only do we have 2 pages and an ace, but the sun numerologically is a 1 card. Like if you reduce 19, it ends up being 1. So I really do think that your soul is longing for a new beginning, and all of these cards are like really creative. Page of Wands, Page of Cups, the sun, like a creative new beginning. This is very like structured and regimented and disciplined, which is fine. I just feel like it's not what your soul is longing for at this point. I think your soul wants to be free and wants to kind of be like a baby again, wants to be a beginner again, and start something from scratch. And I think spirit is encouraging you to do so. And and reassuring you that it's going to be okay, while also acknowledging how hard it is to break out of that cycle of like, no, I can't stop doing this because I've already invested so much time and energy, and I can't be a quitter, and like feeling like I can't just stop because I don't feel like it. But I feel like that's minimizing. It's not just like, oh, I don't feel like it anymore. It's really affecting like your mental health or affecting your well-being. You know, when the way we collectively minimize emotions and the importance of them is very sad, because even saying I don't feel like it anymore, it sounds so like careless, like I'm just not feeling it anymore. But no, it's really, that's not good. If your emotions are not in what you're doing and you're not feeling connected to what you're doing, that's a very, very important factor to consider. And I wonder if, I mean, we kind of live in a society where that tends to not be valued, but I wonder if this group specifically, you maybe grew up in a household or a family or a culture where making decisions because your heart is in it, or because you feel it or you don't feel it, that might have been kind of looked down on. And someone might say, it's not wise to make decisions based on how you feel, because how you feel changes all the time. Okay, well, so does the outside world. You know, it's like if you were making a decision based on what the market is like, and the market is changing all the time. So either way, there may be some unpredictable elements, but yeah, it gives you a false sense of security when you're like, oh, I'm gonna ignore how I feel and base it on logical and objective things. It's a false sense of security that I think your ego is holding on to. But at the end of the day, like, nobody knows what the heck is gonna happen. At the end of the day, you cannot calculate the perfect timing to take a leap of faith and end a chapter. At some point, you just have to do it. And it's like, if life is so unpredictable, you might as well do what you're passionate about and do what you really want to do. With the sun here, there's a longing to do something that you are passionate about. And maybe at one point you were passionate about your previous path, but I feel like it's kind of, something has run dry. Yeah, even this transition from like Page of Wands to the watery Page of Cups, it's like something has run dry and your soul is looking for the next oasis. Like it was never meant to stay here forever. I also, like, the sun can talk about children, childhood, your inner child. And so the fact that we have the sun and 2 pages, this could also be indicating, yes, like you going back into a beginner mindset, but also honoring your inner child. I think, or your inner younger person, your inner teenager, where younger you envisioned you going and where you are right now might be quite different, but it's never too late. It's never too late to change course. Page of Cups even talks about like unpredictability and embracing unpredictability. So it all really, really ties together. But I think it is like, this chapter of your life is about letting your emotions lead and prioritizing how you feel, which might feel scary at first, but it will lead you to wonderful places. I can't remember if I already said this. There's something about like your soul wanting to fall in love with life again and fall in love with what you're doing again and recognize that that can be a norm in your life. Whereas now it seems like stress is the norm and pushing yourself is the norm. And there's the feeling of like, oh, that's just the way it has to be. And Spirit is reassuring you that no, it's not. And if you are like waiting and waiting for the outside world to show you when the perfect timing is to walk away from what you don't want anymore, like you're going to be waiting forever, because there's no such thing as like a perfect time. Okay, so we are going to finish off the reading with some oracle cards, and I want to read this one from the guidebook. So we have Swan with harmony and beauty. I feel like there's probably, because I'm just thinking about relationships and partnerships with the scale. It's reminding me of the Justice card. Swans have the symbolism of like reflecting or being a mirror to someone. There's probably many people who feel the same way that you do, but maybe just don't show it. The example that's coming to my mind is someone who's like, I just want to live like a chill, peaceful life, but they're looking up to people on social media who are like, hustle, wake up at 5 a.m. and blah, blah, blah. And then being like, oh, well, maybe I should actually be like that. But that very same person who's making the hustle content inside is like, I just want to live a peaceful life. I just want to live a chill and simple life. So it's like they feel pressure to be a certain way, and then they're perpetuating that, and then also pressuring others to feel a certain way. Yeah, it's kind of like, I'm just thinking of like Kardashians who feel insecure about the beauty standards, but then they're also perpetuating the beauty standards because they feel pressured by them, and then they just keep helping to create them and enforce them, and it becomes this vicious cycle. And so I think people you may compare yourself to and be like, I should be more like them, they may actually feel exactly the same as you on the inside, but just don't feel like they can live that way, or they don't feel safe to do that. So they're presenting themselves the way they know they can survive, but then that sets, what am I trying to say? That shows an example to other people, and then people are like, oh, I have to be that way, and then the cycle continues. So it's a hard cycle to break. It's hard to get out of this energy, to get out of the Seven of Pentacles energy of like just waiting and waiting and waiting for your crops to bloom, and finding the courage to listen to that calling of your soul to go somewhere else. It's hard. Yeah, I just want to acknowledge that. So let's see what the Swan passage has to say. And she is on page 51. The Swan teaches you to see inner beauty in yourself and others. The Swan heralds a time of heightened states of consciousness in embracing the healing unfolding in your life. Embrace the grace brought by change without resisting the divine plan. The Swan awakens your inner child, bestows beauty and poetry, and guides you in bringing your consciousness into harmony on all levels. It's considered the bridge between heaven and earth, which is why the Swan helps you manifest spiritual and material beauty in the world we live in now. Embodying its energy means resonating with the harmony of the universe and moving forward with it. It suggests peace on all levels. The keywords are conscious inner beauty, grace, relief, self-esteem, and harmony. I like too that it's on page 51 because it's like change and a new beginning. Okay, we also have flexible with the number 19, which is the same number as the sun. I think many of you who chose this group are likely craving a life that has more flexibility. And I'm just realizing, like, we're talking about the moon and how it has changing phases and how your moods can change frequently and your feelings can change frequently. And I think Spirit wants to reassure to you that you can build a life that accommodates that. And that's, yeah, the reason, oh man, it's like we build these structures and we build these routines that are not accommodating to our energy fluctuations, that are not accommodating to our emotional and mental fluctuations, and then we blame the fluctuations when there's actually nothing wrong with them. Like, why do we not just build a life that accommodates them? They were here first. Your emotions were here first. And we are the one making the structures and making the routines. And then when we don't make one that fits us, we blame ourselves. It makes no sense. And we think it's like so logical, and it's really very illogical. So yes, you can prioritize your shifting moods and your shifting energy levels. You can build a flexible life that bends with your ebbs and flows. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. Then we have, I think this is like the priestess. I will put a subtitle if I'm wrong, but she's like the priestess of the fire temple. And it says that you are an oracle, and you are a channeler who conveys messages from the heavens. That's beautiful. And that's probably why you have this high priestess energy. And we even had that swan passage, which was talking about accessing higher levels of consciousness and experiencing harmony in the material sense, but also in the spiritual sense. You may be really leaning into, I don't know if leaning into your spirituality is the right way to put it, because you're always spiritual, but leaning more into like higher levels of consciousness, leaning more into your psychic abilities. I think spirits may be letting you know here that you can always channel messages from spirit, because spirit is in you and spirit is with you at all times. And you have the gift of being able to channel clear guidance. And the fact that this is fire, it likely comes to you through inspirations, through gut feelings, following your gut feelings, following your inspirations, following your passion. That is your divine guidance. And then we have balancing the brain. Lots about balance, like the 2 2s, the swan, flexible, and we have balancing the brain. I can be and do all at once. This card always makes me think of like you're a human being, not a human doing. But you can be and do both of those things as long as you have balance. I think you need time to just be and to not have any pressure or expectations on you. And then you'll also have time to do things and make things and be productive. But it feels like you're moving into an energy where you can fluctuate between those two with intention, or even do both at the same time, like being very mindful and in touch with your body and checking in with yourself while you are also working and while you are also making things. Like, it's not necessarily one or the other. But yeah, I think this card is talking about finding that balance in your life and finding that balance in your brain as well. And maybe even making time for both. Yeah, isn't that a thing? Someone, please let me know if this is correct. But I feel like even your brain fluctuates throughout the day, where sometimes throughout the day, your left brain will be more active, which is like, oh gosh, I think that one's like your problem solving and like organizing stuff. And then sometimes a day it will be your right brain, which is more like abstract and creative. So, and then if you had to force yourself to do left brain things while your right brain is more active, or vice versa, I imagine that could be kind of stressful. So I think spirit is just reassuring to you that you will be able to create this life where you can like check in with yourself and be like, what is my mood right now? Am I in more of a like creative mood? Am I in more of a structured mood? Because you do have both in you, and matching like what tasks will I do right now that is most efficient because my energy is lending itself to that? Or is it time for me to just be right now? Rather than having like something rigid outside of you that says, I don't care about that. You're supposed to be doing this right now. You're supposed to be in this box right now. Yeah, having a life that is flexible and that is like attentive to what you can give in that moment and how you can best serve in that moment. It's beautiful. So my group number 2s, these are all of the messages that I have for you. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself. Stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm going to have a link down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where you can watch tons of timeless, exclusive pick a card readings just like this one, and you can also decide on topics for future readings. I will link my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video that is an original song. I will also have my latest release linked down below. And finally, my vlog channel and my merch, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really, really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, to anyone who appeared in this reading directly or indirectly. I'm sending love to your higher self, your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones. And I also just want to say thank you to Spirit for sitting with us and facilitating this reading. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number 3s. So if you guys chose the rainbow quartz, this is going to be your reading. I just wanted to start off by rolling some dice to see if we can figure out if there's anything specific that Spirit would like to talk to you about today. So I'm just going to pick some random dice. You have 3. Okay, my group number 3s, you have the number 6, the number 1, and the sign of Taurus. These numbers together, 6 and 1, especially in this order, makes me think of self-love. So we might notice that the reading has this kind of theme today. Also, because the 1 represents the ascendant, like a Taurus rising person could be significant, or Taurus in the 6th house. A Sagittarius rising could also be significant. I want to roll one more because all the other groups got 4. So let's see what we have for my group number 3s. Okay, we have the sign of Mars. This looks like finding what motivates you and finding a way to serve in a way that feels authentic and in a way that you can also love yourself. Some of you could also be, this is very specific and kind of unrelated to what I just said, but some of you could also be working on like changing your habits to be more healthy, especially in terms of physical health, like your physical body, your physical energy levels, your physical image and self-perception. Like you could be working on like health and fitness and your physical appearance, or making changes to your diet. And Spirit could be encouraging you that you're doing a great job and to keep going, and you're going to see results soon. For any of you who are like consistently showing up to build a habit or to learn a skill or to make changes in your life, you are reaching a point where very soon people around you are going to start noticing, and they're going to start commenting that they've noticed a change in you. And that's going to feel really, really good. Like obviously you're making these changes for yourself, but when other people take notice, it's kind of like a testament to how much you have changed. So, you know, if you were working on a skill and then you start to get comments from people of like, wow, you've really improved since I last saw you, or you look great. Are you doing something differently? Like to find that people are noticing that, it's like, oh, all of my everyday efforts are really making a change and they're really paying off. I think Spirit wants to reassure you that your consistency is going to be rewarded and it's really going to show. And also that these changes are not in your head. Like you are literally objectively changing yourself. And it's important to look back too, because, you know, the changes are small from day to day. But if you look back to where you were at like a few months ago, you'll be like, holy crap, that happens to me all the time. But anyway, let's get into these oracle cards to see what Spirit would like to talk to you about today. So we have Wish, and I can't help but notice that this is card number 21, which is the number of the world card. So probably Spirit wants to let you know about a wish of yours that is going to come to fruition. We have the 10 of Swords, Light, and I've lost faith. I feel, yeah, Gemini energy could be significant as well with this 10 of Swords, Taurus and Gemini energy. Okay, there's a wish of yours that Spirit wants you to know is coming to fruition. And it looks like this is a very literal message. This is a wish that you have maybe lost hope on. I just saw 444, by the way. So it's pretty much secured for you that this wish is going to come true, and Spirit wants to let you know that it is in alignment with your highest path. And I think it's just here to help restore hope, because it looks like you've been losing faith, and this kind of looks like maybe feeling like you've lost direction. I don't think you have. I think you very much are still on the right path, but you might feel like you have lost direction. And with the 10 of Swords, there is a feeling of being tired, especially mentally tired. So maybe it's because this is a wish that you care so much about that you can't help but think about it a lot and analyze the progress a lot, and it just gets to be very exhausting. There is also a feeling of the wish coming right after you lost hope, or the wish coming right after you gave up. Because with this 10 of Swords, and we often see this on the 10 of Swords cards, there's a person who's defeated. Like they're lying down, they're done, they can't do it anymore. And the sky behind them is black, but then you can see just on the horizon that the sun is about to rise. And I think that that's what this light is talking about. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel. Spirit is definitely here to restore your faith. And there's a feeling of, in your darkest moment, when you're starting to lose hope, that's actually when this wish is about to come true. I also love that we have a rainbow here, because it's like there's just so many symbolisms of like the happiest time coming after the hardest time, like the light at the end of the tunnel, the rainbow that comes after the storm. It's always darkest before the dawn. That is really the feeling of this overall energy. So let's get into your tarot. Another random message. Some of you guys could be working abroad, or getting a job with an international company, or finding success with an international audience. These could be dates, like the year 2021 could be significant, or October 21st. For some of you, your wish could have to do with like foreign travel as well, or it could have to do with someone who is very far away. It may not feel like it all the time, but You have many spirit guides, and they are always present, and they're always guiding you, and they're always cheering you on. I think there's just something with this group where you may question whether you're on the right path, or feel like you're going the wrong way, or feeling like you're falling behind, when it is very much not the case. I think with the Ten of Swords, you have a tendency to like overanalyze the situation, or like get really in your head and kind of get stuck in cycles of thought where you just keep repeating the same negative thoughts to yourself over and over again. And again, there was that advice to look at your progress in the bigger picture, because it's hard to see progress from one day to the next. Because from day to day, there's going to be ups and downs. And it's only when you look at it, I'm imagining like a graph, you have to look at it from a longer time span to really see the progress that you've made. But because you care about the wish so much, it makes sense, right? You're like holding on to every little change, every little fluctuation, and thinking like, what does this mean for my wish? I totally get it. But I think Spirit and your spirit guides want to help save you from that. You have angels with you as well. I might have to bring out an angel deck. Yes, I do. I have to bring out an angel deck. I will use this one. Actually, let's just go ahead right now and see what angel is with you. What angel is with my group number 3s? We have Archangel Raziel, who is number 8. This Leo and the Sun, angel of magic and mysteries, behind the veil, mediumship, divine wisdom, illumination, dreams, visions, and dive deep. I enhance your spiritual gifts, infuse your heart with inner knowing, and reveal the secrets of Source. Then we have clear quartz, which is very similar to what you guys chose. We have 1 week, so something important could be happening in a week from now, whenever you are watching this. And then we also have many options. And what I'm thinking about when I see many options is that there are many ways in which your wish could come true. And it's important, like it's okay to think about and speculate the different ways that it could work, but I think it's important to not get like super attached to one way of it working out, because if that way doesn't work, then you might mistakenly think that everything is doomed and it's not going to happen, when in reality that was never the way that it was going to happen. There's always a million ways, and there's a lot of ways that we cannot see, and it's literally 11:11 on the camera timer as I'm talking about this. The same way a week from whenever you're watching could be significant. Leo season could be as well, especially the month of August. So whenever you're watching this, like the next month of August could be an important time. Group number 3s, what does Spirit want to talk to you about today? We have the 3 of Wands, which is, this is happening a lot in today's reading, like the same cards coming out between groups. So group number 1 also got this, and it was also the first tarot card to come out. What does Spirit want to encourage you to do? You're the 3 of Wands, and we have the Chariot. Yeah, there's something about like going international or going abroad. So again, it could be that you're working abroad or studying abroad or just relocating abroad. Or it could be that you are working with people who are in other countries, like remote working with people in other countries, or you are achieving success or finding opportunity like in a foreign market. But I think Spirit is encouraging you to be in an energy of spontaneity. And I'm also hearing to not plan too far ahead, to plan in little chunks at a time. For a couple reasons. One just being that it's really hard to plan for things that are far in the future because you never know what's going to happen. It's like if you were in 2019 and you're planning a trip in 2020, you have no idea what's going to happen in 2020. It's like that kind of thing. So just because of the unpredictability, but also that planning so far into the future can become quite overwhelming when you think about everything that you have to do to get there, and you think about the distance from where you are to where you're trying to get. It's just so big that the brain tends to get overwhelmed. So planning things more for the near future and just being open and I know like maybe it feels safer to think I have a plan this far into the future, but I think Spirit is encouraging you to make that smaller. So if you're the type of person to like plan your whole month, at the start of the month, maybe it's better to just plan weeks or even just plan that day what you're going to do. Whatever works for you, but there's something about making that unit of time smaller and just being more open to, I'll see what happens. I'll see what happens and then I'll plan accordingly for that. And I'll make changes if necessary. And also with your goals as well, to just break things down into smaller steps. And you don't even necessarily have to think about the end goal, because that could actually just be more overwhelming than anything. Definitely being open to spontaneity and allowing yourself to be more what you might feel is impulsive, because this is Aries energy, which Arians are quite impulsive, and the Chariot, which is like just listening to your gut and going for it and going in that direction. So being open to the idea of like, I didn't necessarily plan to do this, but I'm feeling super inspired right now and I'm just going to go for it, and not necessarily deem that as a bad thing of like, you're being impulsive, you're not sticking to your plan, you're being inconsistent, you're being unpredictable. That energy is allowed. That energy is allowed and that energy is welcome. And that energy can often bring amazing epiphanies and amazing discoveries and lead you to amazing opportunities. So, and this can be really hard. Like if you're like me, for example, my brain doesn't like when plans change. It makes me really frustrated and I want to just like stick to my tunnel vision. So it's harder for me to welcome these kinds of things, but when I do, I never regret it. I never regret welcoming these adventures and spontaneous moments. So I think that is something Spirit is encouraging you to do, and likely something that will help lead you to the fruition of your wish. Even if your mind and your ego is shouting like, what are you doing? You're gonna go off track from achieving your wish. You don't know that, because there's many different ways, and maybe this way is better. So yeah, openness in that way. What else do you want to talk to my group number 3s about? We have the 5 of Cups. And the 8 of Cups. Okay, this is really interesting. I think it's really interesting how in this deck, it looks like the person is pressing their ear to the cup as if they're trying to listen to it. And I was kind of wondering with this Chariot card, if there's something about the white horse and the black horse facing each other, and the way this higher being, it looks like they're trying to bring them together, like embracing your light side and your shadow side, and not not shying away from any part of you, or not shying away from any emotions, and allowing yourself to kind of dive into and explore those emotions or energies within you that are maybe like lower vibrational or darker or heavier. Allowing yourself to feel that full spectrum, I think, could be important. And kind of, just because the Chariot talks about forward motion and propelling yourself forward, that kind of embracing that you can use both of these as fuel. You can use positive emotions and your light as fuel and motivation to do things, but you can also use your shadow, and you can use your negative emotions as motivation. They can also propel you to make changes. I think Spirit wants you to also be aware of toxic positivity, which could be something that you've internalized. So for example, if you're feeling frustrated with the way things are going in your life, it's valid to feel that way. If you feel like you should have gotten more out of something, it's valid to feel that way and to be upset. And it may be important to allow yourself to feel that before you rush in and be like, oh no, but I should be grateful because everything is unfolding in the perfect way. Like, both of those truths can exist at once. You can acknowledge that, yes, everything is unfolding in the perfect way, but also this kind of sucks right now, and I don't like the way this feels right now. Trying to, like, the reason we strive for higher vibrations is not necessarily because it's morally superior or it's how you should be, but just that it tends to feel good to be in that energy. But what feels even better than that is being authentic. So if you're trying to force yourself to stay in a high vibration when that's really not what you're feeling, that is not good. And I think Spirit just wants to remind you to give yourself permission to be in both of these energies, like the light and the shadow, or to be in both at the same time, because we're complex like that. And with the 5 of Cups, and especially with this person pressing their ear against the cup, it feels like maybe there's a part of your shadow that wants to be listened to more, or that wants to be heard more, and that doesn't want to be love and light washed, or that just wants to be seen. There may be a disappointment from a rejection that needs to be sat with, or plans that fell through, or maybe you gave a lot of your love and energy to something or someone and it wasn't reciprocated. And it's like, yes, you can get to that place where you say, I'm okay, it's okay, better things are coming. Like, rejection is protection. It wasn't meant to be. Everything's happening perfectly. You can get to that place, but you might have to go through the pain first, or the disappointment first. Like, it doesn't want to be ignored. It might have something valuable to tell you. It might have some insights about, for example, why this rejection was particularly painful and what it was trying to highlight in you. I'm thinking about an example coming to my mind is like when your stomach hurts. It's not just hurting to be an asshole. Like, it's hurting because it needs attention, and that pain is a signal to pay attention to it. And you cannot tell your stomach to just focus on the positive. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be addressed. And that pain, if you look at it and find the cause of it, could have some valuable information about how you can take care of yourself better. So thinking about how even lower vibrational energies or feelings can have very important information in them. They are not something that you move away from to be like morally superior or to be more awakened. I think that when you're really free, you freely go to the very top and the very bottom and all through the spectrum, and you don't get stuck anywhere. You can freely explore all of it, and you understand that there's valuable lessons everywhere. Of course, we want your baseline to be high and to feel good, but I think Spirit wants to encourage you not to be afraid to like dip down and see what you can find there when something is calling you back to the shadows. So, I mean, I guess I'm really talking about shadow work, but the Three of Wands talks about like stepping out of your comfort zone. At least that's how I often interpreted it. I think we even talked about that with group number 1. And so this could be like going into your shadows could be something that feels uncomfortable, especially if you have some kind of moral association with like light and shadow or high vibe and low vibe. It could be something that feels wrong. It could be something that you feel like, oh, the universe is going to think I'm not grateful if I sit in this negativity, or I'm going to manifest more bad things, which is just not the case. That pain or that darkness is there to be seen and to be learned from and to be moved through. And it has to be listened to. So that, yeah, and then we have the 8 of Cups after that, which is about walking away. So, you know, it has to be heard, and then it can be released, and then we can move on, and then we can be healed from it. So, and that may be where this exhaustion comes from, because this exhaustion feels mental, and it may be from trying to rationalize all of your feelings or trying to talk yourself out of them and convince yourself why you should actually be feeling better right now, rather than just being like, this feeling sucks. And that's when you can really, once you acknowledge that, that's when you can really start learning from it, and like, where is this feeling coming from, and what do I need to feel better, rather than just trying to slap positive thoughts on top of it. I feel like that's what is exhausting. Like, it's not, being in a negative energy is not exhausting. It's forcing yourself to try to feel a way that you don't actually feel, or forcing yourself to try to think a way that you don't actually think. That is exhausting. And that's what might cause the most exhaustion in the pursuit of this wish. It's not how you feel that's exhausting you. It's the pressure that you put to try to make yourself feel a different way about it. It's kind of like Spirit is saying, if you could be authentic to all of your emotions throughout this process, it would be easier, because resisting the emotion is a lot harder than just being in it, is kind of how it's coming through. So for the final part of the reading, we're going to look at some oracle cards, and I want to read this one from the guidebook. Ooh, we have the white fly with singularity. I will place him here. I don't want to cover the angel's face. The white fly, so that would be towards the end. Yes, and it's on pages 58 and 59. In Italy, being a white fly carries a very similar meaning to being a black sheep, but with a slightly more positive connotation. Encountering a white fly is an extraordinary event, extremely rare, to the extent that some may never encounter one throughout their entire life. It wants to assure you that you're not odd. There's nothing wrong with you. Your uniqueness is a precious treasure that, if you can fully comprehend and embrace, will bring you abundance and luck. Just one thing I want to say with this, I think Spirit really wants to reassure you that your beauty and your brilliance is completely unique. It's one of a kind. I certainly have never seen a white fly before. I've never seen a 4-leaf clover before either. These things that are so rare, but that you're so lucky if you happen to come across one. And I think that people who have met you, people who have interacted with you, feel that there is no one quite like you, feel like there is something really special about you. A challenge in this life might be realizing that you are not for everyone, but that is your strength and that is your gift. And I wonder if this shadow and these dark emotions have to do with like embracing your uniqueness and embracing who you are, and maybe feeling like it would be easier if you could just conform, but that's not easier. Yes, it is hard to find the courage to be who you are, but rejecting who you are and masking who you are and trying to conform is so much harder. And your wish that is so close to your heart it's all yours. It's uniquely yours. It is tailored to exactly you. And Spirit is saying, like, who else would I give this to? Why do you think this wish is in your heart? Because it's exactly for you. You and your wish fit together like crazy puzzle pieces that no other puzzle piece would fit in, or like a really intricate key in a lock. It is a perfect fit. If you don't make this wish come true, who is? It has to be you. It has to come through you. It is uniquely for you. And that's also why you can't compare. Like, you might look at other people and compare yourself and be like, look, they're doing everything that I want to do. No, they're not, because your wish it's too unique to compare to someone else's journey. It's not even the same thing. And I just think comparison in general, I mean, nobody should be doing that, but you're a white fly. Like, you cannot compare yourself to these other flies, because they are not you. You're rare. You're an extraordinary event. Encountering you is an extraordinary event. Where was I? I think I read this, but I'm going to read it again. It wants to assure you that you're not odd. There's nothing wrong with you. Your uniqueness is a precious treasure that, if you can fully comprehend and embrace, it will bring you abundance and luck. It's not easy to go against the current or feel constantly judged, but this happens when you possess extraordinary qualities that aren't understood by the collective. Embrace your talent, embrace who you are. Don't compare yourself to others. The white fly is a singularity because it's an albino animal. It's here to tell you that you are a singularity in the universe, like a prime number. If you understand this and are content with it, you'll become rich in spirit and material. Keywords: diversity, singularity, non-conformism, discovering talent, earthly angel, and miracle. Another thing that might be unique about this group is that, yeah, because I feel like your wishes are so uniquely for you that you might be very specific about what you desire and what you know will work for you, that it's kind of hard to settle for anything else or to be more open-ended with the universe. You might have a very strong feeling of like, no, I want exactly this. And I honestly think that that's a part of your unique makeup. Like, it's not, what am I trying to say? I feel like it's not a hard and fast rule for everyone to be super specific and be like, no, I don't want anything else. This is exactly it. But I feel like that is your way, because what you are manifesting and what you are destined for is just that specific. Like, that's just something unique about you. You know, every soul has their own journey, and I feel like other souls' journeys could be more open-ended compared to yours, which is difficult, right? Because it narrows what you might feel fulfilled by, it narrows what you might feel satisfied by. And I think there's a challenge of recognizing the specificity of what you desire, but not falling into the illusion that there's only one way to make that happen, if that makes sense. Like, trusting that, oh no, I know the universe is like, I know exactly where you want to go, but I also know like 50 routes to get there. And you might not be familiar with some of them, but trust me, I know. Like, don't start doubting the universe, being like, oh, they don't know where they're going. I'm picturing the universe as like a taxi driver, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not the right way. They're trying to pull a fast one on me. It's like, nope, they know exactly where they're going. They have it in the GPS. You don't have to worry. The GPS is not faulty either. Yeah, it's like, it's a challenge. I think the journey that you've come into in this lifetime is a challenge. And that's why you can be honest about that. Like, I don't think it was supposed to be easy and all love and light and sunshine and rainbows. So we have come to the edge. So there may be a leap of faith that you're taking. Or this could also be referring to embracing the spontaneous energy. We have the temple of the fire goddess. And it says to recognize your worth, because when you do, the world will change. And isn't that beautiful? You are the white fly who is so unique and who does have the power to change the world. But if you don't recognize your worth and you just say like, I'm too odd, I wish that I could be like those other flies, that is not tapping into your true potential. Oh, the fire goddess wants you to recognize your worth, which that in itself can feel like a leap to take. It can feel scary. I also think it's interesting that we have this come to the edge and you as a fly, because it's like you have to come to the very edge and like jump to find out that you can fly. So yeah, there's like a risk or a leap of faith that wants to be taken. And the chariot too, which is like, listen to your gut and go for it. And then finally, we have soothing impatience. There is nothing to do but wait. Oh boy, it's a hard journey. It's a hard journey you guys are on. Like, it's calling for you to be specific about what you want, but also be open to how you get there. And to act right away when you feel an inspiration, but also be patient with the universe. Like, it really is a tough balancing act, and I can see why it's frustrating, but Spirit is saying like, yes, if you respond to each step of this journey with like an authentic reaction of how you're feeling about it, it will not be as hard. It will not be as draining. Just, yeah, your authenticity is so important. And I don't think like conforming is not it for you. And even as a spiritual, on your spiritual journey, being like, oh, well, how I feel is a bit different than how everyone is saying you should feel in the spiritual community, or my experience is a little bit different. I think my spiritual truth is a bit different. Yes, this group was not meant to conform. You are the literal white fly. You also have 2 9s, 9 and 36, which adds up to 9. That's the number of the hermit. You were meant to go your own way. You were meant to go your own way. Even the angels dressed in white. This person is dressed in white. The white fly. Yes. There's a white fly tarot, by the way, which is really cool. I don't know where it is right now, but I have it. And it's by the same artist. I like it. So group number 3s. These are all of the messages that I have for you. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself. Stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm going to have a link down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where you can watch tons of timeless, exclusive pick a card readings just like this one, and you can also decide on topics for future readings. I will link my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. I'll also have my latest release link down below. And finally, my vlog channel and my merch, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really, really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, to anyone who appeared in this reading directly or indirectly, to your higher self, your spirit guides, your spiritual team, your angels, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.